Hi, gorgeous Libra family. Welcome to April 2019. Here we are at a very interesting time for the Leo or the Libra, clan because we have what I call mirror season, right? The sun is in your opposite sign. And this is always a great time of self-reflexivity, of checking in, of using that mirror as a tool to help you reassess where you want the next half of the year to go and anything that's still serving you or isn't serving you anymore. So there's always kind of an introspective energy when we have the sun in our opposite sign. And then, of course, as we move into Taurus season at the end of April, that's also your 8th house energy, the energy of transformation and transmutation. So April is always going to be a little bit of a check-in month for Librans, I think, every year, right? And of course, we have a second full moon in your sign this month as well, illuminating anything that is coming up for you, anything that is getting questioned for you. So you have a new moon in your 7th house in Aries on the 5th, and then you have a full moon in your sign again on the 19th, closing out a full month of a lunar cycle that was Libra to Libra. Libra at 0 degrees full moon, Libra 29-degree full moon. So there's some interesting culminating energies for Librans that I'm noticing and I'm picking up, and it's kind of intense, and I think almost this April has that volumized intensity to it. I'm going to start shuffling while I talk to you guys. So the message that came up for you when I was checking in was this. We just talked about mirror season and the amplification of that energy. And then I also noted that be aware of your thoughts and patterns. Be aware of where you are habitually thinking something that's really subtle that you maybe don't catch all the time. And also be aware of any patterns, any habits, any routines that are not serving you anymore. And try and focus on Page of Pentacles. Speaking of routines and groundedness and just kind of checking in, there's that page energy or that Pentacles energy. You know, this is a really good time to just check in with what is serving you, what routines are serving you, what schedules are serving you, what thought patterns are serving you, and just play around with that. You know, be creative with what is feeling good to you and what is not, and how can you revitalize your life? How can you shift pieces around so that you're feeling a little bit more Two of Wands. I like this. There's a lot of manifestation energy already showing up in the reading for Libra, which is quite interesting, right? The other thing to kind of keep in mind with this month, Venus is going into your oppositional sign on the 20th, just as we're heading into Taurus season. The other thing to keep in mind is that the outer planets are starting their retrograde. Now, outer planets retrograde a good chunk of the year every year. It's not quite as poignant as the Mercury retrograde we just had in March or the Venus retrograde, any of those. But we do have Jupiter going retrograde on the 10th of April, and that's going to last until August. And then we also have, I'm looking at all my notes, Saturn going retrograde in Capricorn on the 29th, so at the very end of the month, and that's going till September. And we also have a Pluto retrograde beginning at the end of April as well. So there's 3 major outer planets are going retro. The star, wow, Librans, you guys are getting some really beautiful, constructive energy. So as much as I was saying, you know, check in with what's serving you, check in with what's working for you, it's also, I'm getting a sense too that if you're willing to kind of even just do those little minor changes to your scheduling, Two of Swords, there's the assessment internalization, right? The rewards will be really fast. The second you just kind of make those little shifts, those little changes, Five of Swords. Okay, and actually it's interesting that these swords energies are starting to show up because, like I said, noticing where you have thought patterns, very subtle ones that aren't serving you anymore, is a really important part of this. Chariot, I love that. And noticing where we kind of hold ourselves prisoner with high standards, or even things, you know, certain thought patterns seem like they're really positive. Certain thought patterns seem like, no, this is something I've instituted in my life because I know that this works for me. Certain thought patterns encourage us. Like, it just seems like this is a positive thing. And that's what's interesting about this month, is you may be noticing some of those thought patterns. Maybe they did serve you a few years ago. Maybe they did serve you when you had other things going on. And now they're not serving you the way that they once were. Four of Pentacles. Okay, what I'm noticing, Libra, is that there's a lot of expansion all around you, and there's a little bit of resistance to the change. There's a little bit of you kind of wanting to hold back and almost kind of hide yourself or pull yourself back from the growth. It's almost like you know that these things are shifting, you know that these patterns are shifting, these lifestyle changes are coming in, these new opportunities are coming in, and you're wanting to just kind of hide, almost retract away. You want more time to assess it and think about it, when what really all that needs to happen is you just have to relax a little bit and open up a little bit and let yourself have this, right? Oh my gosh, Seven of Swords. Okay, yeah, you guys, we've talked about it before. You know, being an air sign is always such an interesting journey. I don't have a lot of air in my chart, so I always am like fascinated by you guys and think about it a lot. I have so many air sign friends in my life, and you guys have this amazing intellect. You have an ability to use your minds in such brilliant ways, and then it's that double-edged sword, so to speak, that it can also get you really worried or concerned. It can also turn on you a little bit. And I'm just noticing you guys are very wary of change. You're very wary of this opening up. You're kind of like, I'm not sure I'm supposed to have that right now. I'm not sure I'm supposed to go there right now. And that's partially to do with this mirror season, with this Aries season energy, and then this 8th house Taurus season energy working with you, which is making you ask uncomfortable questions and making you look at where you are holding yourself back, imprisoning yourself, putting up the prison guards and saying, this is my freedom, and not realizing that those are guards and they are jailers to some extent. So let's talk about that, because you just look at these first 3 cards, right? They're so good. I mean, this is all about getting what you want. It's all about clarity of vision. It's all about manifestation. Quite honestly, if you know, that word gets thrown around a lot, but these each have a different angle to them, right? What's interesting for me is that Page of Pentacles pops out right at the beginning of this reading. Aries energy is very good for you guys. Aries energy is extremely supportive of Libra. It helps lift you up. It flows with you. It's fantastic. It can be really energizing for you guys to get stuff done, to feel like you're on your game. And the Page of Pentacles has a lot of that energy of like, just, we can get these projects done, we can get this money set up, we can get this built, we can get working out, we can get all of those good things can come in with this energy. So right away, it's like I'm noticing something starts to coalesce, something starts to move and make sense and connect in and be grounded. And what's coming out of that is big visions. Like, these cards can feel a little amorphous. I think when people see them, they're like, what do I do with this energy? What do I do with this kind of 2 of Wands star energy? And that's because they're visionary energies. They are about expansion. They are about growth. They are about positive growth and change. But it's they're kind of daydreamy. They're a little bit like, if you could wave your magic wand and get what you wanted in 10 minutes, in an hour, it would show up at your door, and what would you ask for? What would you really ask for? What do you really want to show up? And where are you stopping yourself from allowing yourself to ask for those things? Now, so they have that visionary quality to them, and there's almost like this sense of you guys opening up that door, opening up to the possibilities. They also are about those things showing up, right? It is also about your horizons expanding. What you thought your life was going to be, where you thought your limitations were, are getting lifted away. And this guy's got the world in his hands. So he is thinking about that big picture, and he's letting it come in. And the star is this extraterrestrial, celestial being who comes in and says, let's water the earth, let's water your world with this expansive energy. Let's go there. Let's explore with it. Let's move with it. So you have these energies. There's like, yeah, you need to put your foot out into this new territory. You can't stay with the old stuff. And that's where the resistance starts to come in, you guys, because, you know, the next 2 cards. you may be noticing that as we shift into Taurus season and as these planets start to go retro, these outer planets, and as we hit into your full moon on the 19th, that illumination, as we close out Aries season, as that 29-degree full moon in your sign highlights your life, highlights where you are in your life, it can get uncomfortable, right? To sit with our limiting beliefs, to sit with our fears, to sit with our nerves. It can feel very overwhelming and a little bit scary. And it can feel like you are blinded, like you don't know what is right for you. Is it good to hold back? Is it good to go forward? You may feel scared, like you can't trust people, like you can't trust the people that are involved in the growth. You can't trust your partner. You can't trust yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, what that's really about is, can you trust yourself? Do you feel that you can trust yourself? Or do you feel like you don't have those healthy boundaries that help you be fully open and vulnerable? All those fears could come up to the surface for you, and you could feel very seen, very vulnerable, very much like you don't know how to move with this energy. But what I always say with the Two of Swords energy, if it's coming up, especially in the context of all that expansion we were just seeing for you, this is a protective energy that stops you from moving and taking action really fast and willy-nilly, and says instead it's okay to sit here for a moment. Yes, it's a little uncomfortable to sit with it. Yes, it's a little uncomfortable to sit in the quiet and let the right answers come to you. It's a little uncomfortable not to be moving and doing and seeking and creating and initiating and making things happen. It's a little uncomfortable to have to sit with yourself in any old patterning that is coming up for you. But if you are willing to just go here and just let yourself explore where you're holding yourself back, where you're fearful, where you're nervous, or also where situations maybe aren't serving you anymore. I mean, this energy can have to do with the fact that maybe you keep calling a person that's not serving you anymore. Maybe you keep texting somebody, and every time you text them, you feel that sense of emptiness and heaviness that comes with after you've sent it. You kind of feel awful. You know, it can also be about assessing what is not working, what does bring this energy up in you. Anything that brings this energy up in you, pay attention to that. Anything that brings up that need to control or that need to overanalyze is always, it's a sign in and of itself that we have to release it a little bit. We have to let it be. We have to let it float down river and be left in peace on a nice beach where we can sit and we can watch that float away, right? And there is something to do with that, because there's something about you guys making the space and creating the openness to go into really beautiful territory. And it's almost like you're holding on to some old patterns, some old routines, some old people, fearing that you're not going to get those next opportunities. But like the Chariot here is in the midst of all this other stuff, right? He's sitting here like right after all this. The Chariot is like, hi. Hi. Connection, commitment, balance, big vision. Again, I mean, you got the Two of Wands, the Star, and the Chariot. And all three of those are these directional, focused energies, right? It's like you're at the top of a hill, and it's really good visibility. It's really clear atmosphere, sky. There's no, mist or haze or anything, so you can see like 20 miles all around you. And you can see where you need to go, and you know what's good for you, and you know what feels good for you, and you have that type of vision this month. But it's almost like you guys get vertigo. It's almost like you guys, it's like, oh my gosh, am I allowed to have this? Am I allowed to be this open? Am I allowed to go here with this? Am I allowed to do these new things? And that's where, I mean, it's, you guys, so you have the Chariot in the middle of the Five of Swords, the Four of Pentacles, and the Seven of Swords. And once again, all of these energies, it's not about drama, right? It's not about pain. It's not about abandonment. It's not about lying. As much as it is about where we are paranoid, we're nervous, we're scared, and we're shutting down from possibility. It's a lot more to have to do with that feeling like we have to latch down and hold back and hide ourselves and hide our resources and hide from change. Because if we stay here and we stay hunkered down over what we already know, if we stay hunkered down and we don't move too much, then we'll be safe. And we'll be safe from things like this, like feeling like we're getting away with something, feeling like we have to look over our shoulder, feeling like we don't have enough resources, feeling like we have to be scared all the time. And so there's like this nervousness with you guys. I'm going to pull one last card because we can't leave it with Seven of Swords. Like, no reading is complete leaving it at Seven Swords. I have affectionately deemed that card the imposter syndrome card. It's kind of the sense of like, I have all these gifts, I have this ability to move about, but I feel like I'm stealing and I'm looking over my shoulder and I don't know if I'm allowed to do this or not. And look what came up, Six of Pentacles. Balance. Balance, ease, flow, give and receive. I feel like there's almost like this illusion that you have over situations this month where it seems like things are really scary or really like high stakes. And it will be easy to buy into that mentality about it. But the reality is that there's a lot more balance in the situation than you think. And you don't have to hold so much weight in your mind and on your body. You don't have to hold so much heaviness in your whole system. In fact, you can, you know, I keep saying this, but it's like you have to relax a little bit into this. You have to, yes, it's about looking at old patterning. Yes, it's about reassessing what's still serving you. Yes, it's about releasing some things that no longer serve you and situations that no longer serve you. Absolutely. There's also greater balance than you realize. There's also a sense that that if you stop feeling like you have to hold everything for everybody else, that you'll see how much balance there is, and that this month is really a recalibration month to help you feel some greater balance. So it could feel a little wonky, it could feel a little unwieldy, it could feel a little bit like you wanna hide out. And that's okay if you need to step back and just rest a little bit, by all means. I think that's a great call. We sometimes just need to do that, especially if we're working on mental patterning, especially if we're working on relationships, especially if we're working on where we give and where we receive and where we need to rebalance. But this month is nowhere near as scary as I think you may feel at times. It's kind of this illusion, you know, it's like you're in a haunted house and things are popping out at you, but the haunted house isn't real. And so it's just learning that you can trust yourself and that really the sun is shining outside and you can walk outside and be fine, right? Because what's really going on is you're expanding into the next beautiful segment of your life. What's really going on is this, Two of Wands and the Star. You know, what's really going on is you are now in this new, you're becoming your next version. You're becoming the next the next level in your life. And it's a little scary. It can feel like you are skydiving. But you're okay. You're safe. You can expand into this. You are meant to expand into this. Okay, I'm going to close it out there. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a beautiful April, a beautiful mirror season. I got the crown back on. PinkLune, I don't know if she's working crowns so much right now, but she has amazing jewelry that's always different. So go check out her shop. I will leave her link and a little promo code for you guys below. She's just a dear friend of mine. Fantastic person. I love sharing her work. I do private sessions. You can find me on Instagram at SarahVerba, or you can go check out my website, SARAHTAROT.com. I'll leave all that in the description box. I'm booking into, I think, July and August as I'm recording this right now, so plan ahead if you want to do a session with me. I would love to see you guys. I'll keep you posted for any upcoming events or things that are going on. I'm sending you tons of love. Have a beautiful full moon in your sign, and I will see you guys for more moon magics and more monthlies in the future. Love you guys. Bye.